Welcome back to the Virtual Tutor. If you're preparing for a Maths Olympiad, you are in the right place. In this new series, we are going to explore some important Class 4 Maths Olympiad topics, learn the concepts, discover useful tricks, and practice different types of Olympiad questions together. And today, we are starting with one of the most interesting topics, Roman numerals. Before we start solving questions, let's first learn the important Roman numeral rules that you need to remember. So, let's get started. Rule 1. Learn the basic symbols. I for 1, V for 5, H stands for 10, L stands for 50, C stands for 100, D for 500 and M for 1000. Now let's see a quick trick to remember these symbols. First, let's break the numbers into pairs. 1 and 5 are one pair. 1 and 5 are one pair. Okay. Then by adding a 0 to both these numbers, we get 10 and 50. Further adding another 0, we get 100 and 500. And the last number is 1000. So we have 3 pairs. 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, 500 and the last one is 1000. And the corresponding Roman numerals are IV for 10 and 50 XL, for 100 and 500 CD, and of course M. You can also use some simple associations to remember these pairs. For example, IV. You can think of an IV drip in a hospital. Next, XL. Think of extra large, a clothing size. Next, CD. Think of CD, a compact disc. And M is simply 1000. So these symbols are the basics of the Roman numerals. So make sure you remember them well. So going forward to the next rule. Rule number 2. I, X, C and M can be repeated but only up to 3 times. So what does this mean? We have learned the symbols. In those symbols, I, X, C and M can be repeated. When you form numbers, it can be repeated, but it can be repeated only 3 times. For example, I is 1. If I add one more I, it becomes 2. If I add one more I, it becomes 3. Can I add one more I? Will it become 4? No. So this is against the rule. So what is the rule? I can be repeated, but it can be repeated only up to 3 times. So how do you write 4? We'll come across it in the next rule. Okay. For now, you just have to know that I, M, X, C and M can be repeated but only up to 3 times. Similarly for X, X is 10, XX is 20, XXX is 30. Similarly for C, you know it is 100, CC is 200 and it goes on like that. Clear? So always remember I, X, C and M can be repeated maximum 3 times. Moving forward to our next rule. V, L and D cannot be repeated. V, L and D cannot be repeated. So how do you remember this in an easy way? All these, like what is V? V is 5. What is L? L is 50. What is D? D is 500. So in the basic we have learned, in these are the numbers beginning with 5. V, L and D. So the numbers which begin with 5 cannot be repeated. You can remember like this in an easy way. The other numbers I, X, C, M all are beginning with 1, so they can be repeated. But the numbers which are not beginning with 1, which are beginning with 5, cannot be repeated. Okay. So VLD cannot be repeated. That is your third rule. Now, coming to the fourth rule. Repetition means addition. So we know that these numerals can be repeated, these cannot be repeated. So what does this repetition means? The repetition means addition. So when the same Roman numeral is repeated, we add their values. Let's understand this with an example. If I write I, what does it mean? I stands for 1 plus the next I stands for 1 plus the next I stands for 1. So I means 3. Similarly, if I say X is 10 plus 10 is 20. So whenever you see it is getting repeated, you simply have to add. Simple, right? Now let's proceed with the fifth rule. Fifth rule is a smaller numeral after a bigger numeral means addition. When a smaller numeral comes after a bigger numeral, we add its value. Let's take an example. VI. What is V? 5. What is I? 1. So this is a smaller numeral. I is a smaller numeral and it is coming after the bigger numeral V. Then the value has to be added. That is 5 plus 1 is equals to 6. Let's take another example. XV. What is X? 10. What is 5? V? 5. So this is a smaller numeral. It is coming after the bigger numeral. Then you have to add it up. You will get it as 15. So smaller after the bigger means you need to add. Clear? Let's proceed to the next rule. The reverse. If the smaller numeral comes before the bigger numeral, it means subtraction. The reverse of it. Okay. The smaller numeral, say I, comes before a bigger numeral V. Then we do subtraction. That is the bigger numeral minus the smaller numeral. It is 4. Okay. Similarly, IX. So this is 1 and this is 10. So the smaller numeral came before the bigger numeral. So again you have to do the subtraction. 10 minus 1 is equals to 9. But there is one important rule we must remember here. I can be subtracted only from V and X. Okay, I can be subtracted only from V and X. This is an important rule because in the Olympiad you may be given some Roman numerals and you need to check whether it is a meaningful Roman numeral or not. So this combination, that is I can be subtracted only from V and X. I cannot be subtracted from L and D, M, whatever it is, it cannot be subtracted. It can be subtracted only from V and X. Okay, clear? I cannot simply be subtracted from every Roman numeral. Now coming to the last rule. When a smaller number is placed between two larger numbers, it is subtracted from the numeral on its right. Okay, so if I write XIX, so a smaller numeral I is placed between two larger numerals, then what will happen? What should you consider? You know that if a smaller numeral is placed after a bigger numeral, you have to add. If a smaller numeral is placed before the Roman numeral, larger numeral, you have to subtract. But if it is placed in between two larger numerals, what should you do? Then the smaller numeral is subtracted from the numeral on its right. You have to see what is the numeral on its right. From that numeral, the small numeral will be subtracted. So let us write this. This is x plus, we can split it out like this because this both will become 1. The number on its right and this one will become. So what is it? This is 10 plus, now here it is the smaller numeral before the larger numeral. So you have to subtract it. So you get 10 plus 9 is 19. Clear? Is it confusing? Let's take another example then. DXL. So this is a smaller numeral. It is placed between two bigger numerals. Then what will happen? These two will become a set. What is D? D is 500 plus what is XL? Because the smaller numeral is placed before the larger numeral, you have to do subtraction. So it is 50 minus 10. So 500 plus 40 equals to 540. So this is how we do it. Okay. When a smaller numeral is placed between two larger numerals, it is subtracted from the numeral on its right. So this is an important pattern to remember for your Olympiad. Right? Now, let's quickly revise the rules which we have learned now. The first one is IXEM can be repeated but only 3 times, maximum 3 times. The next one, VLD cannot be repeated. The next one, repetition means addition. The next, smaller after the bigger means addition. Smaller before the bigger means subtraction. And also remember the basic symbols I, V, X, L, C, D, M. These are the rules you need to know before you start converting numbers into Roman numerals. Okay, so save this video for your Olympiad revision and follow the virtual tutor for more Maths Olympiad tips. In the next video, I'll explain how to convert numbers into Roman numerals and vice versa using these rules. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.